Hey everybody, we're here with another testimony for one of the Hainan programs. And let me introduce you, Aki.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening. My name is Akihiro Funakoshi. I'm a 22-year-old unificationist who is right now attending community college. Yeah. And I attended or participated in this spring's Core High Noon.
Cool. Yeah, welcome, Aki. Aki has you participated in different Hainan programs in the past, right? But
hmm
then most recently you've participated in CORE, the marriage prep program.
So I could talk a little bit more about my experience with Core.
Mhm.
So I think it was around 7 years ago when I first learned about core or first learned about high noon in general. At that time, I didn't know much about anything. I just knew I was introduced to high noon in general as some program that you could use to stop porn and masturbation. Just simple, flat out. I was in middle school, so it was very direct in the presentation in what the goal of High Noon was. But over time, as I got more involved into High Noon on and off, I attended one Ascend workshop and I attended one Ascend program. It was really eye opening just seeing how there's so many aspects to why someone goes to bad habits such as porn and masturbation, that it's more of escape than anything like a single action. So that was really something that I keep with me.
So that was your first exposure to Hainan
First
and how you
exposure.
started. Yeah, and then how you went a little bit deeper, right, by understanding, okay, it's not only about the problem itself, but going deeper, the root, and escaping from something. Um, did that somehow lead you to participating in core later on? Is there a connection between how you joined and how you end up joining core?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think definitely there's some connection between me going to Ascend and making the next step into joining core. Because at that point in my life, like many years ago, and still a little bit now, I it was difficult to look far into the future. That my state of sexual integrity was very like day to day, week to week, trying to overcome these habits that I didn't want to have in my life. And so taking that next step of seeing more about what I want for my future instead of just what I don't want was huge and definitely something that Ascend helped me to do. And Core was kind of just that eventual next step. It seemed pretty, not to say like it's not obvious to anyone else, but it seemed pretty obvious to me that the next step is the marriage is blessing, is to prepare how to talk to people of the other gender in a respectful manner. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like for you, the progression was joining Ascend, and it first started off as a program that's about how to distance myself from something negative, right? How to stop doing something, but then turned into, well, if not this, then what do I want in my life and how do I create that?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And then the natural next step was, okay, I'll join Chorus and says a marriage prep program, and
hmm
marriage is the thing I want, right? And be kind of best prepared for that. And it sounds like for some people it's different, right? There's some people who say they join core first because that's kind of their gateway, and then in core they realize, oh, okay, there's deeper stuff I need to work on and heal from. So then they go to ascend, or vice versa, like your journey.
Yeah, I think I personally am kind of in that midway point as well, where I already attended core, but it doesn't mean that I'm ready for the next step. It just means that I want to be thinking about it. I want to be like examining myself and seeing like, am I really ready for this? And if I have to go back to Ascend, which I was thinking about next semester, then it's okay. It's not like a step by step. kind of progression, like school, where you go to high school and then college. It feels more like if you are missing one thing, then you just go back to it.
Yeah, that's a wise perspective, I think. Sometimes we vacillate in life, right? It's kind of like working on the first blessing, on your individual maturity,
Mhm.
and then you start working on the second blessing, kind of working towards
Yeah.
maturing as becoming somebody who can be in a couple. And
Mhm.
sometimes it happens in conjunction, right? And they are connected to each other, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask, how was your experience in core? Since this testimony is mostly about your core experience, how was the experience and how did it help you prepare for marriage?
So maybe not marriage, not yet. Core has definitely helped me in viewing, like I talked about, other people of the other gender as like more of this might be a little bit of a tangent, but my history, my past is that I attended two 40-day workshops in Cheongpyeong. Cheongpyeong is, or 40-day workshops are. It's basically like a period where these youth, like I was in middle school at the time, go to a spiritual training ground to learn more about themselves and their spirituality. And it's very focused on that aspect of your life, not really so much with talking to people or socializing. So I think from that, I have a sort of like mental block where, like, if I were to talk to the other gender or get interested in them, not so much as a romantic relationship, but just like as a friend, as a something like we have common hobbies or something, um, it'd be very difficult to continue that because of that uh, feeling of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be talking to them. I should be praying. Yeah. Andy, I think you also were there too, right? You experienced some of those 40-day programs.
Yeah, I actually never did a 40-day, but I remember I was there with you for a
Mhm.
21 day. Yeah. It was a high school age workshop. It's like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
That was a long tangent, but going back to the original question about core, right?
How was your experience with the program and how do you think it helped you prepare for marriage? Even if marriage seems maybe a bit far removed from now, is there something that you think you were able to take away as a long-term preparation for your future relationship?
Yeah, so that point about that relationship with a future spouse, I think a lot of hundoke or a lot of readings from True Mother and True Father are the founders of this movement talk about that point where you have to first start a relationship as a brother and a sister before you continue on into a more romantic interaction. And so that was the stage where I was at, and I'm at still now, where I knew the value of ascend. I knew the value of what getting rid of these bad habits are, but it was still difficult for me to see what the future entails, like how to start making these first steps into talking to people of the other gender, talking to sisters, and really forming a good friendship with them. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at a stage and currently focusing on having really good friendships and
Mm-hmm.
platonic relationships, and then
Platonically.
using that as a foundation for in the future developing a more intimate relationship to one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Um, I guess more specifically, because the core program, it kind of tries to cover a few different aspects of relationship and preparing as an individual, becoming the right one. Also preparing for sexuality, kind of preparing our mindset of sexuality. So I wanted to ask, among these different topics, is there one that stood out to you and were you able to learn something new about sexuality, about becoming the right one? Um, any of these topics?
Yeah. Wow. So there were quite a few topics that were covered since it was like, I think a call a week, right? And was it 12 weeks? 12?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. Oops. Yeah. 12 weeks of school, 8 weeks of core. So yeah, each week felt like something special. We would watch a video about that specific topic, and then we would do a discussion. Me personally, I had group leader Andranik. I love that guy. I think he also has a couple of interviews or podcasts on this YouTube channel. So be sure to watch that. Uh, but yeah, going back to the topic about which one really hit me the most or influenced me the most, I think just reading through my reflections, because each week we would write a reflection at the end of the call, probably one of the later sections, because each call, I know I'm doing a lot of summarizing, but just to let everyone know what kind of program CORE is. So each call would be based off this book called the Core. What was it called again? I have it back there.
Yeah, core of the universe.
Core of the Universe, and it's split up into, was it 6 sections, 7, I think,
Yeah.
where it includes topics such as restoration, the fall, absolute sex, and I think the topic that stood out to me the most was probably about absolute sex, because oh wow, if you get into it, like if you start to read what the founders of this movement talk about absolute sex, like how they talk about it, it's very straightforward, very like you would never hear it anywhere else. So yeah, that was something that first at first shocked me, because like no one talks about the sexual organs like that. No one talks about how um like important they are, but also how like I guess influential they are in our future. And just reading about that and talking about it, not just absorbing it in my head intellectually, but also uh, trying to digest it with other people was really, really important in trying to understand like what do these words mean? What kind of vision do I have for my, I guess, to be straightforward, sex life in the future? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's amazing that that's the point, that the topic that stood out to you and do connect it to, well, this has like internal spiritual application for you in the future, but also practical application. So why not start with this spiritual internal foundation, right? That the founders and a true parents quotes that core of the universe is based on, that they teach. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, either from your experience or something you'd like to say to anyone who's kind of on the fence about joining core or not, or they're thinking about it?
Yeah. The reason I'm smiling is because at the end of this program, they send us a link to send out to our friends or family who might be interested in core. And I think I did send it to 2 people. They might be watching right now. I think I might tell them to watch. And yeah, I don't think they clicked the link. But one message that I want to tell you two is, they know who they are, is that core is really the next step. That we did GPA together, one of these programs that also focus on your faith. And although it's really nice, important to be able to work on your spirituality, there's always something that's missing from that. How there's the foundation of faith in my own self, but there's also the foundation of substance. And as brothers, it's very difficult to find a platform where we could openly talk to other sisters who are going through the same kind of process in a very like platonic way. So core is a great opportunity. I think one of the activities for last core was to have a call with both brothers and sisters talking about like specific misunderstandings that they have about each other. I'm not sure if this will happen this coming core session, but that was probably one of the most impactful experiences in that whole school year. And you guys, I think you should definitely try to join to experience that. It's only like once a week too. It's only like an hour or two.
Thank you, Aki. And yeah, whoever Aki's calling out, you're welcome to join the next batch or the one after
Watching you
or
guys.
anyone else. All right. Thanks, Aki, for sharing. And yeah, we'd be happy to have you back on in the future if you have more experiences, and hope there was something in here for people who are listening. Reach out with any questions that you might have after the testimony or in general, and we'll be here for you. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Bye.